Let's have a closer look at why Mexico is a very special track that requires a very special car setup. First of all, the track is 2,238 meters above sea level, which means that the air density is a lot lower, which changes the car's performance significantly. So let's have a look at some numbers. In Mexico, the air density is around 0.99 kilogram per cubic meter. If we compare that with Zandvoort, another high downforce track directly at the beach at sea level, the air density there is around 1.25 kilogram per cubic meter, if we assume the same temperatures. So that's a difference of 26%. Aerodynamic forces are calculated through the following formula. F equals half times density rho times CL, which is a correction factor, times A, which is the frontal area, times velocity v square. If we now assume a drag coefficient of 1, a lift coefficient of 4.5, and a frontal area of 1.6 square meter, we get 900 kg of downforce at 160 km per hour on a track like Zandvoort. That is around the weight of an F1 car with fuel and hence a speed where it could theoretically drive upside down. In Mexico, however, that doesn't work. Because of the lower density, we are lacking almost 190 kg of downforce at the same car, with the same setup, at the same speed. If we then look at a high-speed corner at around 250 km per hour, it becomes even more significant. We are now lacking over 450 kg of downforce. And again, same car, same setup, same speed. So teams use their most extreme high downforce packages for the Mexican track. And even then, they have less downforce than other tracks. The next thing is drag. Since we calculate the drag force with the same formula, we can see the same density effect here. To get the required power for overcoming the drag force, we multiply another time with the speed, which then changes the speed to the power of 3. If we now use 320 km per hour, which is a typical top speed for high downforce tracks, we can see that in Zandvoort we would need 700 kW, 120 kW from the MG UK and 580 from the combustion engine, so something an F1 drivetrain can do. But in Mexico, the same car, at the same speed, only needs 555 kW and has another 145 kW left to accelerate. To use 700 kW in Mexico, we would have to drive almost 350 km per hour, which is the top speed we can see in Mexico. So although teams use their high downforce package, some even their Monaco dirty downforce spec, they reach Monza-like top speeds. The next important area is cooling. You calculate the cooling performance with the mass flow times the thermal capacity Cp times the temperature difference. The mass flow is the volume flow times the density. So since the density is in this formula now too, we can see the same effect. We have 26% less cooling at the same speed with the same car. So even if the volume which is flowing through the radiators is the same, the density tells us how much particles are in the air to transport the heat away. So lower density gives us less cooling. You could say now that at the same time the car is driving faster because of less drag. But the car is just 10% faster, which results in 10% more flow through the radiators, and at the same time we lose 26% cooling due to the low air density. And another factor is the combustion engine itself. A combustion engine needs air to run. Also here, not air volume is important, the air mass is important because it tells us how many molecules we can use for combustion. Less density means less particles, so I cannot inject as much fuel and end up with less power. So engines with a larger compressor section and hence a larger compression ratio lose less power than engines with a smaller compressor. So in the end, Mexico is a very special race where we can see cars in their most extreme downforce packages that reach the highest top speeds, and at the same time run the highest cooling configurations with largest openings. So I hope you liked this little insight and see you at the next video.